So how many of you feel, are you currently praying for a blessing, but it just seems like nothing's changing? Now, we can go over many reasons why a prayer might not be answered. And there's several factors that might fall into place where God's working on your character. He's working on, you're in a typical season. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we might not see our prayers answered right away. But today I want to go over something very specific that a lot of us don't seem to be aware of. And it could be the reason why God's not answering your prayer. That reason is because we haven't fully surrendered. God won't bless you what you won't surrender. The blessing you're waiting for is typically waiting on your obedience. And a lot of that also falls on trusting God and giving him everything and surrendering it all to him. There's certain parts of our life that we're not fully surrendered to. So I'm going to give you a good example. And this is what happened to me recently. Last year, we were looking to purchase a home. Now, I wasn't typically looking to purchase a home. The Lord led me into that direction because when COVID happened and everything, I lost a good amount of my business because of COVID and all the unfortunate events that took place. So I found myself in a lot of debt because of closing business and not being able to operate like we were before. After that happened, I didn't get a lot of relief from it. So I had to kind of figure things out on my own and try to manage what we were given. And I knew the Lord would bless me. I know he'll make it work. And he actually led me through that season too of growth and character development while I was going through all that too. So I understood why I was going through everything that the Lord had me to go through. But last year I wasn't really looking for a home because I didn't feel like I was ready for a home. I don't feel like I was financially prepared to purchase a home. The Lord led me down this path of having this desire to want to look at this one new home, just one home. And I wasn't really I didn't see any other house. There's only one house by itself. And, typically when you search for a new home or something, you're going through the whole area. You're looking at prices and you're just trying to see what was a good fit for you and your family. But for me in this certain situation, it was just this one house. So I went and took my wife and my family to go look at it. And I actually ended up having a dream about this house 2 years prior before looking at it. And I didn't really put the two together until after purchasing this house, that what I saw in a dream was exactly how the house was laid out in the backyard and the houses in the back and everything. It's definitely from the Lord how I received this house. Nothing but the Lord. The financial aspect of it did not match up. Nothing made sense financially because like I said, a lot of debt, and there's a lot of debt that wasn't exactly on my credit report either, because a lot of it got wrapped up where they didn't even put my credit and they were able to lump it all together and make a monthly payment instead of, 5, 6, 7 different payments on different accounts that we had. So we go through the process of a realtor and everything and a lender. And the first lender said they couldn't do it. Didn't really give a specific reason. It just didn't work out. They just said, I don't know exactly how they put it, but they said something about my business at that time that they couldn't use the funds from it, which didn't make sense because I've had the business for 8 years and paid taxes on it for those 8 years. So it didn't really make a whole lot of sense why they couldn't use it. It was just a very odd situation. So we went and got another lender. And we were told if anybody could do it, this lender can do it. Upon receiving this lender and starting to work with him, he told me that I had to sell my bike to make the numbers balance a little bit better, to give us a little bit more breathing room to be able to purchase this home. I had a Harley and I owed like $21,000 still on it. Yeah, they're well overpriced. So I prayed about it. I said, Lord, if this home is from you, let me sell this bike in 24 hours. And that's exactly what happened. In 24 hours, that bike was sold. So I thought for sure we're on track. I'm all in to, purchase this home because I know it's from the Lord. Like his hand is on it. Things might not make sense, but I know it's from him and it's going to all come together. I've been praying too that other account doesn't come and be revealed, because then for sure nothing is going to make sense. Nothing will make sense as far as numbers, and it will just be impossible for us to even be able to purchase this home. I'm praying that the whole time. There's like almost 2.5 months go by, and we're getting close to a closing date because they extended a closing date for whatever reason. I can't remember exactly, but it was supposed to be like a 30-day or something closed, and then they extended it, and then Christmas happened, and then we find ourselves exactly 3 days before closing, and I get a phone call from the lender I was working with, and he goes, "Hey, what is this bill?" And I was like, oh, my heart dropped. I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, wow. So I explained to him, well, how did I receive that bill and why it's not on my credit and stuff, and this and that. And I thought for sure he was going to be upset about it. And he wasn't upset at all. He just told me, he's like, okay, well, let's see what we could do. And then, I just start praying about it again. I'm like, Lord, I don't know how this is going to work, because now none of this is going to make sense. None of it's going to make sense to the lenders. They're not going to want to hear me say, I'll take care of it in a couple months. They're not going to want to hear that. They want to see everything perfect right now. Another day goes by and we get right next to the closing date. And then he calls me and he's like, hey, you're good to go. We're going to close on, the next day. Everything's good. Everything's going to be great. And I was like, I couldn't understand it because nothing made sense. Financial part of it, none of it made sense. And then that's when the Lord revealed to me, he said, in order for him to bless us with this home and make it a miracle, every single thing had to be laid out. Everything has to be revealed. Everything has to be laid out for him to show us that it's a miracle and a blessing from him. Like nothing could be, in the backdrop of things. Nothing can be hidden. Everything has to be laid out in the open so he can reveal the blessing he has for us. And yeah, to this day, I can't tell you how impossible it would be for someone to go through something like that and still get approved for the home when none of the numbers made sense, and it was just above and beyond, the budget that he had to require to be able to meet the circumstances that they have for the house. So yeah, we were blessed. We received the house, and it was exactly the house that I had a dream about 2 years prior. Even around that time, we drove around the area, and it was just land, no houses here. And my wife, we were just exploring the areas around here because we lived in this area for a while. So before even the houses were starting to get built and they only had the model homes, we drove around the area. And even then, which was about 2 years before we purchased the house, even then my wife felt, and she was like, oh, we need to pray. We need to pray right now. The Lord's just put on my heart that we need to pray over this area. So the Lord's been working on it that whole time. The whole time he's working on blessing us with the home. And he wanted to reveal, like, even though when it made no sense whatsoever, it made no sense when it came to the numbers and everything, that he is God and he can do everything. He can do the impossible and make things possible, but he'll do it when we reveal everything and fully surrender our situation and reveal it all and open. That's when he does his work, and he can do the impossible. Let's take a quick look at Deuteronomy 28, 1-2. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give to you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all nations on the earth. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. And let's also take a look at James 1:22. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. You can't ask God to bless you in a relationship that God specifically told you to get out of. And you can't ask God to bless you in the financial part of your life when you haven't done what he asked you to do as far as stewardship or tithing. You can't live in disobedience and expect the heavens to agree with it. Towards the end of this recording, the microphone cut out on this message. The rest of the message got lost. If this message has spoke to you in any way, like and subscribe, share it with someone that you feel that might need it. Thank you.